Let's talk about CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. This may be the most dangerous team in the next couple of years in the AFC South, or were they just 1 year wonders? Let's talk about it. When I look at the Houston Texans, this is a dangerous football team, one of the better young football teams in the NFL. You're going to have a lot of people come on here and say, you know what, it's 1 year. Let's see what CJ can do in his sophomore season. CJ was phenomenal this season. 23 passing touchdowns to just 5 interceptions for 4,108 passing yards. He was phenomenal. And you look at the Houston Texans over the last couple of years, it was some dark years because the last time they had a winning season was in 2019. In 2020, they went 4-12. 2021, 4-13. 2022, 3-13. This season, not only did you go 10-7, you won your division and you won a playoff game as well. Nick Caserio deserves a lot of credit for coming in and fixing the entire mess with the Houston Texans. You could say he played a part in that, but when they traded Deshaun Watson, it seemed like there was going to be no light in the darkness at that point in time. But it took years to build up this team. Obviously, hitting on your star defensive end and Will Anderson and hitting on CJ Spiller, that process, they also have other good players in this team as well. Their offense is going to continue to be good in the next couple of years, especially the offensive line can stay healthy. You look at CJ's debut in the NFL, it wasn't spectacular, but given the circumstances, he played very good against the Baltimore Ravens. And that seems like that defense and that team was his Achilles heel this season because you lost to him in the playoffs as well. But the offensive line was hurt in that game from tackle to tackle. He didn't turn the football over, and he was going out there and he's trying to adjust mid-game, and he was a rookie quarterback. The reason why I bring that up, the first couple of games in his career, he looked solid, but the offense was murky. Bobby Slowick is coming back for yet another season, who was the main offensive play caller with this team. Around week 4 to week 5, you started to see CJ get the ball out quick, design screen passes, things to open guys up to help CJ deal with that pressure while the offensive line was getting healthier week by week. And I love those in-game adjustments by Bobby Slowick. That's why I call him a top offensive coordinator in the AFC. I do want to see what he can do next season, and I am excited about that. But this offensive line has to stay healthy. You have some star wide receivers on this team as well. Tank Dell was very good this season. He only played in 11 games. He missed some action due to a concussion, and he also missed the majority of the back half of the season dealing with a leg injury that he suffered against the Denver Broncos. He broke his leg in that game on a quarterback sneak. But before he did that, he had 709 receiving yards, and he also had 7 receiving touchdowns as well. Tank Dell is going to be that wide receiver that you look at that can take the top off the defense. He's going to open up things for other guys as well. He averaged 15 yards a catch, and that's very good considering how he was used in this offense. I think that he can be a very good wide receiver moving forward, and if he was to play for this entire season, I could definitely see him breaking over 1,000 yards receiving. But he was not the best wide receiver on this team. It was Nico Collins. If I was to come on here last year and say that Nico Collins would have 1,297 receiving yards with 8 receiving touchdowns, people would laugh at me. And the reason why I bring that up, you look at Nico Collins for his entire career. He never showed this type of ability to go out there and be a number 1 wide receiver. In 2022, he only had 481 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. And in 2021, his rookie season, only 446 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown. That is just to how good the offense has changed with Bobby Slowick and also the quarterback play with CJ as well. Davis Mills was not going to be the franchise quarterback with this team, but I felt like he got too much hate because of the circumstance that he was dealing with. But you bring in CJ, he's elevated these players around him. You look at Nico Collins, you look at Noah Brown as well, who came over from the Dallas Cowboys, 576 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. So when a lot of people come on here and they say, hey, go out there and get a wide receiver in free agency, go out there and make it'd be top priority in the NFL draft to go get a wide receiver. I don't really agree with that because you have good wide receivers on this team. You also have Robert Woods, who's a solid veteran to have as well. You can bring in some wide receiving help to come in and help out these guys just in case an injury does happen, because injuries definitely hurt this team down the stretch with Tank Dell being out against the Baltimore Ravens. But at the same time, CJ is good enough to go out there and elevate that wide receiving position. I'm worried about the running back position with this team. Devin Singletary was the leading running back with this team in terms of yards per rush and also in rushing in general. He had 898 rushing yards on the season and 4 rushing touchdowns. The problem is Dameon Pierce was the lead running back for this team a year ago in his rookie season. This season, he did not look good in this brand new zone read system with Bobby Slowick because it's changed. They changed coaching staffs not once, but twice. If you remember, they had Lovie Smith as a head coach. They fired him. And then you also had Dave Culley as the head coach as well. You fired him as well. So there's a lot of turnover that was happening. You look at a guy like Dameon Pierce, he's used to just running downhill. He's not used to just bouncing to the outside and catching the crease and catching the edge. And it definitely hurt him this season. While Devin Singletary came out, who's a veteran running back that you got in free agency from the Buffalo Bills, while he had 898 rushing yards for 4 rushing touchdowns, Dameon Pierce only had 416 rushing yards. He averaged 3 yards a carry for only 2 rushing touchdowns. In his rookie season, he had 939 rushing yards, and he also had 4 rushing touchdowns, and he averaged 4 yards a carry. And the biggest injustice that was going on his rookie season, they were giving Rex Burkhead the football at the goal line. They weren't giving it to Dameon Pierce. So if you gave him more carries, he possibly would have broke over 1,000 yards rushing. I can definitely see this team going out in free agency, talking to a guy like a Saquon Barkley, possibly talking to a guy like a Tony Pollard to bring in some more explosive backs in that backfield to help out that rushing attack. You're definitely going to keep Dameon Pierce around because he's a very good power back with this team, but he's not a guy that's going to go out there and rip off a 60 to 70 yard run. And with me saying that, it's pretty crazy because he had a kick return this season. When he gets in open space, he has an ability, but he's not going to be a home run hitter every single drive. You get a guy like a Saquon Barkley to where he doesn't have to deal with a stacked box. You have a star quarterback in CJ with the weapons on the perimeter. That could be a very fun offense as well. You also have a solid tight end in Dalton Schultz. Does he want to come back or not? 635 receiving yards. He also had 5 receiving touchdowns as well. And I look at this entire offense. They're going to be good as long as those tackles can stay healthy. And I'm talking about Titus Howard, and I'm also talking about Laramie Tunsil as well. You have Kenyon Green, who you selected in the first round a couple of years ago. He hasn't been that home run hitter just yet at that guard position. I expect for him to be better. He dealt with injuries this season. I really hope this kid can be a hitter because in college, he was a very good offensive lineman, especially in the interior, and they're going to need interior offensive line help. The reason why they did not have an offensive touchdown against the Baltimore Ravens in the postseason isn't because CJ was a bad quarterback. He got exposed. He had no time in the pocket. You go out there, you build the interior of the offensive line and just go get some more depth. CJ can go out there, he can win you football games. Despite as many times as he got pressured in the playoffs, he did not throw 1 interception. And he was phenomenal in the back half of the season. And that is one thing that translates from season to season, how good a quarterback can take care of the football. And CJ missed time this season as well, dealing with concussion injuries that he suffered against the New York Jets. So if you keep this kid upright, I really do think that he could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. That is just how special this kid is. I've been saying this since Ohio State, when he was playing with that team. And since he's come over, he's been phenomenal. If you can keep him upright, there is no reason why the Houston Texans cannot go out there and consistently make a deep playoff run with this roster. You look at the Tennessee Titans right now. They're in a rebuilding type of mode right now with Will Levis. The Indianapolis Colts could be a deadly team with Anthony Richardson, but he's still a project player at that quarterback position. I love his game a lot. And you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. It seems like they fell off this season. Can they rebound next season? We will see. So it's just not a for sure home run hit that CJ and those guys will be able to come back next season at a high level. But one thing that I do know, D'Amico Ryans can coach, Bobby Slowick can coach, and CJ is a very special quarterback. So the offense, definitely go out there, talk to other running backs that are explosive, try to get a running back in the draft if you cannot land Saquon Barkley or another guy. And you can bring in another wide receiver as well to fit into that slot and to fit that role that Robert Woods had with this team, because you're going to have a lot of cap space because CJ is still in that rookie contract. Now you look at this defense, this is when things get very good. Derek Stingley Jr. did not have the best rookie season. Because Lovie Smith continued to put that kid in that Tampa 2 situation, he struggled. D'Amico Ryans saw that. He let him be a press man corner, and he did miss some time this season dealing with a hamstring injury. But when he came back, he was one of the best corners in the NFL. He is a true cornerback number 1 in the AFC. He only allowed 279 receiving yards. That was it. He did allow 2 passing touchdowns, but he had 5 interceptions. This kid can be an all-pro corner. he is phenomenal, especially in press man coverage and now in zone coverage as well. DeMeco Ryans went out there and he adjusted to his game plan. That is what great coaches do. They let the players play their way, but they also sprinkle in a little bit of what they want as well. And they were able to get home with their front seven at times with Jonathan Grenard and also with Will Anderson, who I'm going to get to in just a second. But you look at the secondary with this team as a whole. Jalen Petrie was phenomenal in his second season. He was very impressive his rookie season, looked very good this season as well. And you also have Steven Nelson, who is an older corner. He's a veteran, but he looked very good with this team. When Derek Stingley Jr. was out, he was their number one corner. He wasn't letting up those many big plays. He looked very good in this system. So you can bring him back as well. You can run him back with the same defensive guys. I would like to see him go out there and try to make a splash at the linebacking spot. Christian Harris is a very interesting player. He's not a horrible linebacker. I think that he can develop over time, but at certain points and times this season, he did get exposed, and that is because he is a younger player. But I have full faith in him being developed at the next level as well, because DeMeco Ryans specializes in linebackers because he was a former linebacker, not just for Alabama, but also for the Houston Texans as well. And he led the San Francisco 49ers to being one of the best defenses when he was a defensive coordinator with that team. And what is one thing they specialized in? Linebackers and getting pressure up front. And that brings me to their front seven as a whole. Will Anderson was phenomenal this season. Only had 7 sacks. I know what a lot of people are going to say. He didn't have double-digit sacks. He only had 7. What's going on with that? He was getting double-teamed, but it opened up things for Jonathan Grenard. Will Anderson was the best pass rusher with this team, in my opinion. He had the best pass rushing numbers. Just because you're not going out there, you're not having 15 to 18 sacks on the season like a guy like a Myles Garrett or a guy like a TJ Watt, doesn't mean that you're not going out there and you're not winning your individual matchups. He was. He was a tank. He kept Lamar Jackson in check. He went out there and he sealed the edge against the run game. He was causing forced fumbles. He was phenomenal. And it's a lot of those plays that did not show up in the stat sheet. Go back and look at what he did against the Denver Broncos. Looked very good in that game. Kept Russell Wilson in check. Week 1 against Lamar Jackson, he kept Lamar Jackson in check for majority of the game on his side of the field. So Will Anderson is a very special player. He was getting to the quarterback. He was just a hair away and they'll throw the football away. That's a waste of a down. Plays like that are affected, but they are not recorded in the stat sheet. So I just want to shine a light on that. Will Anderson was a tremendous rookie this season, and especially getting to the quarterback and stopping the run. But you look at a guy like a Jonathan Grenard. He is a free agent. Do you want to bring him back? He did a lot of good things for you this season. He had 12.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and he's only 26 years old. I can see them bringing him back as well. The defense of the Houston Texans can be better, but a lot of it is because of the games that were missed by CJ while he's dealing with that concussion that he suffered against the New York Jets. I think that the Houston Texans are going to be the team to beat in the next couple of years in this division. It can change year to year, but I have a lot of faith in the Houston Texans right now, and especially with them being coached up by DeMeco Ryans. CJ is a phenomenal quarterback. I understand, look at his numbers right now, only 23 passing touchdowns. I can see that being bumped up to 30 passing touchdowns next season, especially if you go out there and get a Saquon Barkley or go get another explosive running back with this team. Even Tony Pollard can come in. You can have a situation to where you have Tony Pollard in for some of the snaps with the juice that he has. Then you bring in Dameon Pierce. But I know a lot of fans want to see the Houston Texans go out there, talk to Saquon Barkley with the ability to catch the football at the backfield and be able to just catch the edge and just turn up field for a 60 to 70 yard game. That is possible. But at the end of the day, the Houston Texans are finally headed into the right situation, and I have full faith in the Houston Texans right now. It would be crazy if I came on here a couple years ago and I said that, but I love everything that the Houston Texans have done, from drafting Will Anderson, from drafting CJ Stroud, and also from drafting Tank Dell as well. And they did that with the picks that they got from that Deshaun Watson trade, so they're making good on that trade right now. But let me know in the comment section below, am I hyping up the Houston Texans too much, and can they have more success moving forward with DeMeco Ryans and with CJ being their starting quarterback? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, we want each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.